Hey guys, I'm Chris and welcome to Almost Legit Garage. So today we have a treat. The Autocross GTI is finally going to get a performance mod. So generally when people buy cars, one of the first modifications they're going to do is a cold air intake. And now about 10-15 mods in, we're finally going to do one. So this is a Neuspeed P-flow intake, and it will replace the factory airbox. Now, really I put performance in quotes because most people don't really see any kind of performance improvement from installing a cold air intake. But ultimately I have this catch can set up here. I had to trim the airbox underneath here to make it work. And that's not really, it doesn't sit quite right anymore. And basically it kind of seemed like time to get rid of it. So we got the new intake here, and I'm going to show you guys how to swap it out. Okay, so first thing to do is remove the mass airflow plug. So typical Volkswagen style plug-in, my recommendation is push, click, pull. So basically push it in to relieve tension off the tab, pull it back, which you just pull right there, and then it should come off. Don't try to force them, they break pretty easily. Then you got your two tabs here for the turbo inlet. And you just wiggle that off. Got no ring seal. Okay. And then you're gonna take the fresh air intake clamp, and then you move it up and let it sit just like that. Now you should be able to wiggle that off. Okay, next we're going to remove this intake duct here. Kind of hard to see, but there are two screws on either side. Let me get some light on the subject. LED lights always suck. But yeah, right there, there's one on that side and one on that side. You can kind of tell my airbox is a little janked, or my air intake is a little janked together. Basically just on and off so many times over the years, stuff tends to get broken. But anyways, remove the one on the driver's side first. Now this is using ultra premium OEM hardware because this course board is stripped out. Ultra premium OEM hardware because my course board has become stripped out from on and off a couple times over the years. And then the passenger side. Break it loose, and then you can spin it out pretty easily. I am using a T25 for this. I have no idea what size it actually is. Now to show you guys kind of how jank this is. Basically, because the engine rocks a lot, these tabs here tend to not hold very well, and then that'll also cause this cap thing to come off. So I just pretty much drilled holes and put zip ties through and holding everything together, and that's worked pretty well over the years. Okay, now is a pretty good time to remove the mass airflow sensor while everything's still kind of securely held in here. So you're just going to have two screws, and you will use different screws for the new intake, at least on the P-flow system. So don't really worry about maintaining those very well, unless you want to go back to stock later. And you pull it out, and you're going to want to be extra careful with this thing because it is relatively fragile. I know my garage is a mess, but we're just going to set that on a nice clean paper towel. Now comes the fun part. So basically, you got to rip this up. I start in the front corner. Pop. Pop. Apparently my back ones weren't holding very well. So then you can pull the old intake off. Here's a wonderful view of my hack job intake with some Boeing tape blocking the hole that I had to cut in it. Alright. Now I already did some of this disassembly ahead of time. I put it back together just for you guys, so feel special. But at the bottom of the turbo inlet is this spring clamp. Now I really don't have a good tool for doing spring clamps. They make one that kind of slips on. I mostly use channel locks. It's a bitch, but eventually you can get that off. Then once that's off, which you're just gonna move it down onto the turbo, and give this a little twist and pull, and it comes right off. Now the P-flow system comes with this heat shield, which will fit underneath these little pegs. So basically to take those off, oh, and these rubbers tend to stick. You just kind of wrestle them off by hand. Just kind of roll and pull, and they should come off pretty easily. Okay, on the back side of this peg is a 10 millimeter, and you're just going to take that nut off the back side. Try not to drop it, and then these will twist out by hand. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so once you got those off, you can insert the heat shield, and then it'll fasten right back down with these little peggy things. You could, if you wanted to, I guess, take these to the hardware and find out what thread pitch they are and replace it with a bolt, but I don't know, I just did this because it's here. And make sure you reinstall those nuts on the bottom side. They hold the other heat shield around the turbo manifold. So without that, you're going to have some rattles. So make sure you get that hardware back in. And mine was a little janked up in the back here. And I know it really doesn't matter, but I just took one off the front. And I'm going to remove probably this entire bracket and this bracket at some point or another. Almost missed. It's probably a good idea to stuff some paper towel down into the turbocharger because you don't want anything falling in there like these little nuts you're trying to squeeze back here. Okay guys, so now it's time to install your intake, and you can do it, or you can pre-assemble with the filter and the coupler here. And we're gonna have to play pretend a little bit because I am missing the clamp that clamps onto the turbocharger. So we're gonna fake it till we make it. I just need to go to the store and get another one. Basically lines up there. Start with putting the coupler on. Slide it down till it stops, and then you're going to be attaching to this bracket on your vacuum pump right here. Okay. Tighten that up, and a little bit of blue Loctite probably wouldn't be a bad idea for any of this stuff. Okay. So then you are going to just tighten that down until it strips out a little bit. Now note, if you have any special engine bay hardware, like I have my rebound adjustment and shock overflows right here, you might need to kind of shift things out to the side, or even maybe lob that off if you needed to make clearance for it. But anyways, the next thing is you are going to install your mass airflow sensor. Whew. Don't drop that into the pipe. Okay. I think it goes this way. Yeah, because the clip was on the top. Pay attention to that, because if you install these backwards, your car's really not gonna be happy with you. Okay, and again, this would be a good place for a little blue Loctite if you had an inclination to do it. Alright, so now with everything tight, you can bring your mass airflow sensor and clip that in. Now I think it'll probably get better once I tighten this clamp down here, but there is a little bit of wiggle room, and it seems to tap on the top of the master cylinder there. Might look into doing some reinforcement or something, maybe a clamp that comes up from one of these points, just to kind of hold things in place a little better. But anyways, that's your install. We'll do a review and a couple of sound clips here in here at the end of the video, and hope you guys had a good day. For more Mark V race car content, check out Almost Legit Garage. Subscribe if you want to see, it regularly. Well, let's take this thing for a drive and see how she sounds. Now, she has been warming up for a couple of minutes, just idling, but I'll make sure. Just got a little heat before we really thrash it all. Very kind of the amazing thing about these cars is they just start making boost at such an absurdly low RPM. It's ridiculous. Like here we are, 1500 RPM, and you hear it blow off. So it's starting to make something already. It's just incredible. Well, it definitely sounds cool. Just note, the exhaust system on this is literally just the muffler cut off at the rear axle, and that's pretty much it. That's what we got, and it sounds pretty good. It's not too loud. When racing, we really only see like 84 decibels at 50 feet, which is nothing really, so it's pretty good. God, this thing makes a lot of noise, or that intake makes a lot of noise. Yeah, so we're not really doing much of anything. That's quarter throttle. It's making a lot of noise. Alright, we got our temp gauge finally moving, so we'll get into some higher RPM stuff. Of noise once you get into the full boost range. Just working its way up to it that really makes some noise. You know, I see, like, if you're not really into your car being loud, it could actually get a little annoying daily driving because it makes so much noise with such a little throttle input, and pretty much no matter what. But I like it. It's a good addition. For the money, it's fun. It's a better option than the diverter valve spacer. It doesn't cause the car to run any worse. So I'd say it's good to go. Got my seal of approval. Also really easy to install. That was nothing.